Hi guys, welcome back to GBS again. We're here in Kit Spares and we've got another exciting product, something that we've actually had out for a while, and we've actually done quite a lot of testing, and we've actually sold these particular sumps now to 20 or 30 different cars. We started this project with the sumps 3 or 4 years ago, and we obviously are now in a position where we have now caught up with stock. We're in a position where we can sell these openly to anyone with a 7 type car, or anyone that's got a 2.3 or 2.5 Duratec, potentially a 2 litre Duratec, and several other applications which I'll touch on in just a second. But fundamentally we saw a gap in the market to create a kind of cost effective but well designed sump with internal baffling that could support what we want to do in terms of track days, and this is kind of what we've come up with. So it starts off essentially as a piece of billet aluminium. That aluminium is machined. So if we see on the camera, the whole top plate here is a thick piece of aluminium, and that gives us a consistent mating surface that we know that works. And then to keep the cost down, rather than manufacturing the whole sump out of a piece of billet aluminium, which would be extremely expensive, we then use high grade aluminium, laser cut, folded to create obviously the entire piece. It's then fully welded together. There's parts in there that are added for the internal baffling, which is welded in place. A lot of research development, time, track time, road time, reviewing data logs went into getting the right baffling and these apertures and oil returns to where it is today. So we've got a return there for, a pickup pipe for the dipstick. So obviously we can read the dipstick. On some engines we don't necessarily need that, like the 2.3 Duratec. The dipstick goes through the centre of the engine, and that's just a simple case of blocking that off, so it can be used in both applications. So what is really nice about it, we use a groove, so within here we can use a bead of sealant, obviously all the way around. We've got the mating holes that are pre-drilled at the front, which we can apply a small amount of sealant. Pickup pipe, bolts to the existing oil pump. What I would just say at this moment in time is that's the pickup pipe for the 2.3 and the 2.5, and that is a very nice snug fit that goes in there, and that also acts as a kind of baffle. So to get these in, you kind of slot that over there, slot it into place, and then you just hold it in place and then attach it with the M8 bolts. Now what I said earlier about potentially offering this as a version for the 2 litre, the 2 litre oil pump has got a slightly different angle, so there will be a slight revision that we're looking at the moment in time that will move the pickup pipe and put it in a slightly different position. Obviously we're mindful that there's a lot of cars out there that want to run just a standard 2 litre if they've taken out of an MX-5 or an ST150. So yeah, so once that's on there, bolts up, happy days. The old 4.5 litre of oil, and that puts us quite nicely to a fill line. And like I said, we've done extensive testing, really hard acceleration brake, hard acceleration brake consistently. We've done 3 or 4 track days, we've done Donington, we've done Blyton, an handful of times, and each time we've been using the software on the Life Racing to look at the data logs, and we're pleased to say that we don't get any interruption or oil drop off or any supply issues in terms of oil. And that's come over a period of time by changing baffling. Initially under really hard braking we did see a slight drop off. We revised the baffling, and that process took 3 or 4 revisions until we're kind of where we are today. The other thing I will just point out, if you're looking at this thinking, well, why is it a bit of an angle? Obviously within the GBS Zero, if you look at this engine on this engine stand, we mount our engine at a 10-degree angle, and that allows us, like it does in the MX-5, it allows then the gearbox to be straight. So you'll notice that the gear shifter is perfectly straight, but the engine's at an angle. And we continue that in our obviously car in the Zero. But what that does mean is when we mount the sump, in order for the sump to be flat bottomed, you get the 10-degree angle here. So what is worth noting is when you look at this here, the oil line will be to this point here, so we took that into consideration with the 4.5 litre. Now, I know what you're going to ask. Well, you're going to say, well, my engine isn't at a 10-degree angle. Can you make me a sump? And that's the next phase. So the beauty that we've got with this piece here is we can modify the bottom section to whatever the customer wants. So if the customer wants to have that same sump, but they want that to be slightly deeper, bigger volume, not 10 degrees, we can do that. And again, by application. Or if you want to, like something that we were just looking at development, it's a bit of a sample, but if you wanted something to mount, say like in a Mark II Escort, you've got something like this, which basically puts all the sump into this section, clears the cross member on the Escort, and again, that's something we can offer. This was a quick mock-up, just tried it on an Escort to see how it works. Pleased to say it did work. There is different variations within the Escort market, different cross members, which again, we'd need more information if we were to develop these kind of sumps as well. But now we've proven this and we've got the technique and the process in place, obviously we now will start looking at different options for other customers. Not so much maybe one-offs, but you know, get in touch if you have got an application that you'd like us to work with. I certainly think that the non-10 degree sump will have a place, and I think we'll stock them and they'll be available on the website, as are these. So yeah, just to show you obviously what you get in the kit, you obviously get your pickup pipe, you get the bolts to attach to your pickup pipe which mount to the oil pump on the engine obviously. There is a oil dipstick, so it's a case of popping that in there, mounting that, making a bracket, and then setting the height of this once you put your preset amount of oil in, marking on there, and you've got obviously an active dipstick. Some people cut that off, put something on there like a little billet thing. Seen loads of different versions. Some people run just a shorter dipstick, but you can be quite creative. And then obviously you get a bolt kit with the snore washers to obviously hold that in place, and a tube of ATR sealant for sealing it on as well. But these now are in stock, readily available on our website. All the pricing information is on there as well. But any other questions, get in touch.